All right, howdy everybody. Welcome to part two of going over my own PUPL stuff. I had the idea for this even before the tour started, but now that it's over for me, almost over for most people, turns out it's even better that I did this because I'm actually goated. I'm I'm schnasty with it. I don't know. Yeah, I did good. So it feels good to actually have this like forced documentation type thing, and hopefully that makes it more interesting for anyone happening to watch. But yeah, I'm just gonna go over. If you missed last video, I did my first 3 games, and now I have 4 more. One playoffs game, did not play week 7, and we're just gonna go through. Usually it's gonna be team first and then game first, but I already see, I think the music is too quiet for you guys, but I'm way too lazy to put music in the back, and for me, it's too loud to want to talk over. So I'm gonna turn it down, and it's probably too quiet for you guys and not worth you know what? Screw it. You want music? Put your own stuff on. I genuinely don't care. I'm not here for that. I want to go over this stuff. I like talking and analyzing my own play. Been doing more chess now, so God, I've been doing even more of that. Yeah, it's good to go over your own stuff. Anyway, before I even go into the team I used, week 4 versus Kyus or Nen. This is what happened turn 1. This was this was the super cool thing where I got crit and died. Spoilers, I lose the game like right after that. And I've been waiting so long to say this because like we might use this team again, we might use the ideas again. The thing is like that doesn't look like the worst thing in the world for being honest. Like, oh no, Mudsdale's gonna get up rocks. Maybe I'm rock slide, which they like never run anymore. But sure, maybe I'm rock slide and I do like 50, and then he just webs after and I kill him. But my Mudsdale's mostly dead. Like, oh no, that crit can't have been that bad. Screw you, because that was a adamant choice banded Mudsdale, and that was very much in my favor to Oko. I I gotta check again. The last time I remember, I think it was like 80, 90% roll in my favor plus the mischance, but like, no, he should have died. And my explicit intention leading Mudsdale was I want to trade it for the Vikavolt. Ugh, I'm so mad. Like, I thought CB Mudsdale was so cool. Dugza was like, we should try this. I was like, wait, this is actually good. It does hella work. And it just gets crit turn 1 and dies. And that was just frustrating as all hell. Like, we'd already won the week, and I chose to still play with this team. Like, I wanted to, get a good game in between me and Kios. I was like, we're two good players. We should do this. I think it'd be cool. I also want to show this dude off. And then I saw this team. I was like, well, God, Vikavolt, huge problem. But he probably wants to lead webs, right? So if I can just trade Mudsdale for Vikavolt, more or less, that's perfect. Like even if he's at 1%, then Bellybolt can kill it. Then Milotic is faster and can kill it. Not really a problem, right? No, I just get crit turn 1, so really upsetting. But strong horse, really cool, and the whole team was built around that. It was literally just like I'm gonna make a very standard balance where it's gonna look like everything's basic. Bombardier is not gonna seem like the rocker because I have a Mudsdale. And then it's actually going to be CB Mudsdale. And I used this team at the time. Venusaur was not out. This was after Raikou had been banned, but Venusaur had not shifted in. Since Venusaur shifted in, oh gosh, whoops. Okay, hopefully that didn't mess up on the recording. Since Venusaur shifted in, I put that on because it just works better than Rotom here. It really does. Rotom's cool with the nasty plot and stuff, but the annoying like pressure that Venusaur does, where very few things beat it, kind of goes nicely with Mudsdale. Like Mudsdale is really good at pressuring like the few things that beat Venusaur. So I swapped that in, but it's basically just standard Rotom. Like this team is very very standard. There's very little interesting here. I slapped Lash on out. I slapped Lash out on because I was like revenging Decidueye a little bit annoying on this team that can help. I don't know. Aside from that, like very basic team, but directly around this guy. Because I really think like a lot of the reason I did well in PUPL is like really honed in on ideas, and the intention was to be like very boring, and then just surprise it's the horse, and it worked. Did well in tests. I believe we brought it out like week 6 or 7 again, like maybe Seal or the year someone subbed in and was like, "I need a team," and we pass this again because the team doesn't really show anything off. Certainly doesn't show off the Mudsdale, and then like they lost with it too, and I think it was just kind of like not played very well. That vague recollection. I might be wrong in slandering my teammates, but that was kind of the idea here. Ban Mudsdale, kind of cool. This game is very boring. There's not much interesting to talk. Like the crit basically ends. Have to Terra Milotic. I get a crit afterward, but it's way too late to matter. Like I've used up my Terra, and I no longer have the Duraludon check. I would have absolutely taken this matchup otherwise. I think I have all the tools I need to be fine if Mudsdale just trades for Vikavolt, especially if webs aren't up and my Scarf Taurus is even better. Like I don't think I like would have 100% won. Definitely would have been contentious, but I think it would have been at least playable, like fine. And instead, there's just like, nope, game over. So very boring game. I was just skipping through to see if I forgot something interesting. I probably should have recovered there on the Draco. But, like I was gonna run out of recovers anyway. Doesn't matter. Uh, Nothing doing. Just a lame game. You can't help it from turn one. But we'd already won the week, so that's cool. And once again, spoilers. Only loss I'm gonna take all tour after we'd already lost the week and to a silly crit. 6-1. Very happy with that. Plus, you know what? I there was a if you watched my video last week, or you just remember, not last week, you watched the last video I made, or you just remember, kind of didn't really deserve to win week three. So just kind of made up for that. But that's this one. Just honestly very boring and just a very straightforward team. So not a lot to talk about here. But then going on from this, I really think I'm very happy with like all of my teams in play. I don't think I've ever been happier post tour. And obviously I did well, and I don't usually do well, but like in the few tours where I've done well, I haven't felt this happy about how I've performed. Yeah, like I don't tend to do very well in team tours, except for Battle Spot. I own Battle Spot every year, but aside from that, um, this went great. And even if it hadn't, I think I'd be like, yeah, my teams were awesome. Speaking of which, this team is cool. It's a balance built around Swords Dance Decidueye Hisui is kind of a breaker. Something that's good enough where like it doesn't really need to Swords Dance all the time. It kind of just clicks buttons and puts in a lot of work. I did want to use it with Bombardier. The just knocking stuff that it does and the things it pressures kind of goes well with Decidueye. And then after that was kind of basic. Trailblaze Salazzle's kind of fun as a last move. Not amazing compared to like Encore, Sub, Toxic, Terra Blast, but like cool. I've enjoyed it and works more as like a speed cleaner because I've got the braking. We got the Fat Belly Bolt. Chilling water is very important here because otherwise Scrafty just dunks on this team, just dumpsters it. This is also pre Venusaur, by the way. Decidueye is not amazing, but like probably usable after Venusaur. Fuck no. Just like add in another huge threat that I think is super broken, totally walls this thing, and basically dumpsters the rest of the team. Yeah, no. And then Scarf Meloetta is the last slot because Decidueye is kind of annoying. I've already got the fighting. I don't really want to stack like Poroses or Wet Bull. No, Poros is both. Yeah, I don't want to stack like a Poros or a Bombard, not Bombardier, Flamigo. Man, I am being an idiot right now. I can't talk for shit. Anyway. Scarf Miller just kind of makes sense here, even though it's overall mediocre. Like it works, um, and it's less like sneak weaknesses. But the balance score is nothing to write home about. It was very much in the vein of like, yeah, I'm gonna use more Gastro Belly Bowl. I did it the week before with Milo Belly Bowl, but I felt it was justified because I thought just the core of like Decidueye, Bombardier, Salazzle, I think it does a lot offensively. And Decidueye is something I think people really were underrating. This Decidueye, like the other Decidueye, obviously people want to even suspect it, which I think is crazy, but whatever. Like it does just kind of get to hit buttons. It's more prediction reliant than other breakers. It's slower than other breakers. I'm not fitting priority. Like I decide Sucker Punch wasn't worth it. I'm going with knockoff. Um, but then like it really smashes fat. Like plus two knockoff, dead glow, bro. Dies, Nothing really takes it on well. It's awkward to revenge kill. Certain things like, your Rotom Mows or whatever. Like it just kind of fits this weird niche. And I was finding that like I set up the core such that the teams that are really good against this, not as amazing against the rest of the stuff. You know, just kind of works out. Probably weaker, the weakest of like the four teams I'm showing in this video, purely because of the Decidueye, but very fun. And I bring it into Asa, who has pretty standard team, nothing terribly out of the ordinary. Honestly, I don't know what her big idea was here. It feels missing something. Like, what's the X factor on this? I was kind of missing that. Didn't really figure it out in the game or afterwards. Didn't want to ask her. Just didn't feel like it. Relatively okay versus Decidueye, but definitely the kind of thing that it plus Bombardier will start wearing down. Like this is kind of where I expect it to be. I didn't expect to have an amazing matchup for this, but between these two, I can sort of just slowly hit buttons, knock stuff, triple arrow stuff. Like seems pretty reasonable to me. Um, Unfortunately, I am the Trailblaze Salazzle. If I was Terrablast, like Terra Grass, that really could have done a number on these. Because Colossal in this matchup kind of needs to like spin and hazard and stuff, not staying too healthy too long. So if I could just blow through the Gastrodon, that would have been a better Salazzle. But oh well. I do still like Trailblaze in like specific stuff. I think that just about covers it. Start going through the game. Seems reasonable. I don't remember what else I wanted to talk about. I do not want to get tricked turn one. I'm not sticky hold even though this is post Inteleon. Is this post Inteleon? Yeah, I'm pretty sure maybe this was the last week of Inteleon. I don't know. Early crit on Colossal. Very nice for Salazzle. Still doesn't kill it at plus two, but we're getting there. And my early game plan is mostly just like pivot around, set spikes, get spikes and knocks. That's what I want. And nothing else is doing is like suggesting this is gonna be a huge problem. This Decidueye is not choice banned from the damage. I don't think. I'm trying to remember now. I was like, maybe that's the X factor, like a big choice band Decidueye to push the breaking. I don't know. I don't know. I get to chip the skunk. I miss a toxic. That's honestly what it, like kind of sucks, but it's early game. It happens. And one thing I do remember regretting quite a bit this game. I go for a lot of knockoffs of Decidueye. I think if I can, I should be spamming knockoff because if I can knock off the Kilowattrel and then get rocks up, it will really pave the way for a late game Salazzle win without needing to Trailblaze. It's kind of where my head was at. And in hindsight, that was pretty bad. Leaf Blade does plenty to chip Kilowattrel. I'm not super worried if it comes in. Like, I don't want to give it too many chances, but I've got multiple checks. And it's going to do a solid 40. And I keep just like knocking into the floor just over and over, and it does nothing. And floor just has trick. It can just take one of my items now. Just genuinely, like, not great. I do regret how I played that. At least I can go Gastrodon and like I'll lose my boots, which I want, but I won't get a scarf since that. And I'm more than willing to just spike here because I want the Cold Dead. Cold Dead means Salazzle better. Cold Dead means Meloetta better. Cold Dead means Bombardier, no burn risk. I do try to pivot in Meloetta because it's Bombardier's close to dying, and that doesn't work. I don't catch a ghost move, but it's still fine. And then I decide to save Terra. Because number one, I think Asa knows Terra Ghost is the most common. She might go Colossal, like intentionally trying to flamethrower on a Terra Ghost or something. And number two, I felt like my late game Terras were more useful and I could get spikes up again. Because Gastro spikes on everything but Decidueye. That seems pretty possible. And the Terras that I still potentially have are Grass to just like hit her Gastrodon with Trailblaze, hopefully do a lot. Poison with Gastrodon. A Fat Poisonmon, like, kind of walls all that. I forget what else. Was it just those two? Maybe it was just those two. I was like, I think late game, that stuff is more useful. And in hindsight, that was probably a mistake. Not only is Meloetta more chipped, like I can come in on spikes less now from the spin, but I do have to spend the time getting spikes up again, which I knew I could do, but maybe just not worth it. It does end up saving my ass purely because Asa gets lucky later, which we'll see. I did need to have the Terra, but right now I don't know if this was the play. I really don't. Um, I never really came to a solid conclusion on that, but we'll see. Asa is going to start doubling, like bringing in Kilowattrel, playing more aggressively with the one spike she has, because I did just decide no removal's fine on this team. I'll get at my own hazards. I'm good at spin blocking. I have two different Terra Ghosts, you know. Leaving in Belly Bolt. I really overpredicted there, and I just thought she would spike. I was like, I want to recover on a spike. That's basically all there is to it. And I was like, if Belly Bolt dies, I can afford that. I'll get Decidueye back in. I'm still going for stupid knockoffs. Just really no reason to. Just bad. But I pivoted to Salazzle. I really think Austin might double on the Gastron because I've kept going Gastron. Doesn't work. Try to Trailblaze. That is a Spadef Gastrodon, I'm pretty sure. But I would need Terragrass to go. I think that's just not. No, I mean Fizdef, not Spadef. But I do finally get to get Bombardier on the Gastron, get roosted up because Decidueye was a problem, and I just pray for no burn. Because at this point, I kind of have to knock it off. Not really like a choice there. Fortunately, I don't get burned, so that's cool. And then Asa's Florges is Terra Blast, and I'm scared. I don't know what Terra it's going to be. I don't know if it's Terra Grass or something, but it doesn't do that. So at this point, it's looking like Gastrodon beats everything except the Decidueye, which is getting chipped by spikes. And her only shot is just to keep doubling around me like she's doing, like pivoting. Um, but she doesn't U-turn there. And then the desperation hurricanes come in. Her only shot at beating Gastron is to hurricane, and oh, she already got it. Um, that sucks. I do straight up think like neutral luck, no hurricane stuff. I easily win this. Only Decidueye beats Gastrodon. I have a Roost Bombardier to come in. It's taking spikes. Like Asa just doesn't have enough to do it. I don't think she does. And I've still got these two like to toss off one or two hefty hits. But that makes the game much closer because now Kilowattrel outspeeds everything but Scarf Meloetta, which can come in like twice, and it murders my team. So I'm gonna have to figure out something. And I decide I'm gonna use Meloetta early, even though it's faster than Kilo, because I can pick up a good kill here. Something. And my plan for beating Kilo is the Terra Ghost Roost Bombardier. If only I was Terra Dark, I could just like do more damage to it and kill it. But no, I'm Ghost. At least I'm faster than the Florges. I can take it out here, but this is still incredibly deadly because I've Terra'd into being weak to Decidueye Shadow Snake, and I'm not Sucker Punch, and I don't know if she knows that. Um, she Terra Fairies, so I'm assuming she was afraid of Sucker, but not like any other Terra would have been any better here. And unfortunately, my Decidueye does nothing. And this is kind of the big play of the game, um, which I guess I should have paused earlier to not like reveal what happened. But we're 2v2. I send my Salazzle. Um, Kilo lives a hit. If it comes in and lives a hit, Salazzle dies, Bombardier can't switch in, I just lose. So doubling out to Bombardier is definitely on my mind. Because at that point, knockoff is a safe win. It does just work, I think. Am I actually sucker? No, I'm not sucker, but like knockoff still wins there if I double to Bombardier. On the other hand, if Asa just attacks through it, I lose. On the other hand, if I just stay in an attack, a Sludge Bomb Poison wins me the game, and a Hurricane Dodge wins me the game. And I decide it's a bit of a 50-50. Instead of playing super aggro, why don't I just go for the option that has two different 30% chances for me to still get bailed if I get it wrong? So that's why, like, I did think about going Bombardier, but I just commit to Sludge Bombing. And does not get the poison, unfortunately. Kilo lives, but I do dodge. And that was basically the thought process. I was like, look, I've got two different outs. So Hurricane Confusion screwed me over, and then Hurricane Dodge won me the game. Not as interesting play wise, I think, is in the builder. I think there's just like a weirder team for me, and then the game was kind of awkward. A lot of weird like spikes, terror decisions, hurricane shenanigans, like just kind of odd. But overall, I'm happy with it. And I do think Asa's team was fine and she didn't play terribly. It just, the missing the X Factor thing isn't like the worst always, but I do think that's kind of a part of how you end up struggling into Spadef Gastrodon, because that probably shouldn't have been as problem of a matchup. And I also really got to wonder, like, what Terra Blaster's floor just, I have no idea. I would assume Terra Ground, to nail like your Colossals and Salazzles and stuff. I don't know. That could have been something, maybe. I guess moving on. This is my favorite team I built all tour. I think it's broken. I think it's so good. I think it's crazy. I decided to use more Salazzle, Terra Grass this time to just, own the Poroses and the Gastrodons and whatever. And then I build a spike score around it. Scarflor just shouldn't be this. Like, it went on way, way later. But I got the spikes. I got the Breaker of Meloetta, offensive Houndstone as the secondary thing, and then the actual spikes because I forgot this guy's rocks. Uh, these three just go dummy with spikes. Salazzle, Meloetta, Houndstone just kill teams. I've got the cleaner. That's just like it's Florges. It's solid. You know what it do. Um, and then Gligar is just the most annoying little shit that ever existed, except it's in a tier with Belly Bolt, so it's not even that. Like, it should be the most annoying thing ever, and then we have Belly Bolt, so it just doesn't get to do that. But yeah, this team goes crazy. Just the spike score and the pressure it outputs, I love it. Super fun. I think it's great. Struggles against Venusaur now, which sucks because man, I love using this team. I probably would have like changed a bunch of stuff or like hidden or I don't know. But now that it struggles into Venusaur, I can't really justify like keeping it and using it more and stuff, which just makes me sad because guys, offensive Houndstone's so good. Our Poltergeist resists um are there because we have Golurk, but people are I mean Golurk and Decidueye, but people are not always ready for this one. It's strong as hell. So are the other ones. But then it's got like the weird, how do you revenge kill it with Fluffy? And it's got Sneak, and it's got like a nice little play rough to just, you can take like 45 from Bombardier and kill it. I don't know. This team could go crazy. And it started again from a very strong starting idea. I'm going to use Salazzle Hazard Stack. It wasn't that at first. I had like some really mediocre team, scrapped the whole thing. I was like, okay, Salazzle Hazard Stack, we're going to focus on this. Kind of ended up working out. I don't know. I feel like other people do way better analysis. I feel like my analysis the other video is better too. I've had like nothing to say on this stuff aside from it's cool and I like this, but at least I'm sharing the team for you guys. So that's something. Probably like this is a thought point for me where like I need to have more clear idea of what I want to critique about myself. Because going back through these, I haven't had a lot. I think I'm like too high on my own supply. So I got to be worried about that. And, it's not like this team doesn't have weaknesses because it absolutely does. Number one, Red Bull. I got like one Red Bull check and then just kind of smashed the team. This stuff like that. It runs into Hoenn just running Trick Room. I think this is just because his team was already in. I don't think he's like that high on Trick Room or thinks it's good. But I don't know. I never spoke to him about it. It just like it's kind of the vibe I get because week 7 he trolled too. Um, he was just like trolling a bunch at the time. Trick Room's kind of silly. It is threatening here. I do not have a water resist. That is the big weakness, but I was saving to talk about that till we saw like, oh god, Clawitzer and Trick Room just just buttons. It just buttons. You know, and that is definitely a thing with the team. Like Wet Bull will button too. It's just the team does so much offensive stuff, it doesn't even matter. Gligar, take a hit, get your spikes, whatever. Send in the Houndstone. Like it doesn't matter for this team, genuinely. Couldn't do it with Inteleon around, but now our waters are like just mediocre enough where Yeah, you might lose, but you got enough. But this Trick Room game ended up being very, very cursed. I immediately am like, okay, let's get as many spikes as I can. I need the chip. I need the chip. What else am I gonna do? I am gonna try to pivot in Meloetta to get off one big specs hit on Claw, and no, I'm not gonna do that because it's gonna crit me. Which, yeah, that's neat. I just need to chip the Clawitzer so like I can revenge it with Shadow Sneak under Trick Room, but no, I guess not. I'm still just like at this point my plan is get all the hazards I can, and as soon as Trick Room goes away, kill him. Unfortunately, I get like the spin rocks turn wrong, but it's fine. And like, look, Clawitzer's chipped, not into sneak range, not even after a rapid spin, but I'm trying. And I do think he's got Healing Wish too, but like I just don't have many more options. At least Floor just like also lives a hit. I do Trick expecting the Trick Room Mesprit to come in because that way I can set up Calm Mind and then not like get exploded on. But he opts to Healing Wish, which is very interesting. Like good play by him. I don't think he had anything else. I'm immediately like, okay, this has to be Terra Steel stuff, and I go Gligar, and he does commit. He full commits Steel Belly Drum. I kind of think that was the game losing play. I don't know if like a double or something would have worked because I've got hazards up, but I don't think that works. And bringing Claw now, no Trick Room's up. Gligar gets to chip it, so like I can definitely revenge kill it. I don't think it works. In fact, hell, I can even go floor just and set up. Like I'm fine. I'm chilling. This is easy and no, it's not. Yeah, that wasn't cool, but like fortunately Trick Room is just not great, just not running great mons. Like Dusknoir tries. I wasn't sure like what he was gonna do, so I Terra like sneak. Is he actually gonna be faster? But no, it just dies. And if he just gone Glastrier, he could have like 1v1 Houndstone maybe, and then Dusknoir would have beat Salazzle. But he sacked Dusknoir first, so I end up winning. That's cool. I guess that was the worst play compared to the Hariyama thing. The whole end game made me very confused. I didn't get what's going on. Only went that close because of multiple crits. I don't know. I believe we brought this team out again. I don't remember what happened with it. I don't remember if we won or lost, but I'm pretty sure we used it. Oh, no, it was in playoffs, and Tenebrosite uh, got a really rough poltergeist miss with Houndstone, and that just like it was early game enough where you can't just say like that was the whole thing because you got to try after that, but almost certainly would have just destroyed the game if that didn't happen because that was the only reason Drip got to do a big like Terra lore set because he didn't get poltergeisted like Houndstone could just snuck after. So that sucked. This team is cool. Let's move on to playoffs. I take a week off because I went to Supernova. And then in playoffs, I fight Beraldo, who I beat in the last video, and I made a cool little team because I noticed, hey, Beraldo's used like one Florges or maybe no Florges. And even if he does, I think Spec Zoroark's pretty cool. And Zoroark plus Venusaur is crazy. Because I genuinely I hate Venusaur. Venusaur to me is more annoying than Decidueye. Because I'm used to the things that beat Decidueye. They're splashable and they're good. And the things that beat Venusaur are like Terra Spadefmons. AV Glowbro can hold it off. Earth Power still does like 35, and then you got rocks or hazards or whatever. What, this Bronzong? I guess AV Copperaja holds it off. Like, uh, I'm not listing like one or two things, but seriously, this has so few checks. And when you add in like the unpredictability of the Zoroark stuff, it is crazy. I hate it. It's dumb. Yeah. This speed beats Florges after a trick, non-scarf, whatever. And then a bunch of other stuff. Adamant, Skunk, and Bombardier also losing to this. Very nice. A lot of people still doing Adamant. Terra Normal, just to mess with Decidueye a little bit more. Yeah, this go crazy. Basic Spec Zoroark, basic defensive Mudsail, basic defensive Coal, basic Scarf Florges, basic Banded Aqua. except it has Zen Headbutt now because I figure, hey, Venusaur's in the tier, why not? Like Earthquake is would be good to have, but Venusaur like had just dropped, and I thought there was a chance, Beraldo would bring it because new stuff, and there's worse things you could run than Zen, right? But yeah, pretty basic here. Just I really think this core does a lot. Again, starting with like this core is powerful. Let me just build a team that works around it. What does this help cover? Well, it's pretty good against Decidueye, so I guess the rest can be a little more mediocre into it, stuff like that. Um, yeah, just strong as hell. And in the game, I load into hyper offense. I was not expecting Brawl to bring this. I don't know if it's a comfort pick. I don't know if he thinks hyper offense can be good into me. I haven't really been hyper offensed all tour except by like the Kios webs, which I lost to. So that's something. But I don't feel like I've been that weak to hyper offense. Like my other teams, the Houndstone spikes, probably fine, stuff like that. So it made me feel like maybe it's more of a comfort pick. I don't know. And a couple of weird things too. Venomoth, not unheard of, especially with also webs. Like definitely annoying. Because if you ever revenge like with a Scarflorges or something, anything special, that's free setup. But then also Minior, which is I used Minior hyper offense earlier in the tour, but inconsistent. So like some odd picks. Feels like he really had like a vision here. I don't want to like I don't entirely hate it, even though I personally would not want to make a hyper offense this week to Kilowattrel, but aside from that, like I kind of get it. Unfortunately, I just kind of think he was asleep at the wheel for most of the game. Uh, I'm gonna start Zoroark and disguise as Venusaur because I'm like, what does he even do? If it's Vikavolt, he'll just, he won't attack Venusaur. He'll just go for webs, and I'll get to 2 KO. If it's anything else, like that's a terrifying combination. I even go for Flamethrower because why did I Flamethrower into the Golurk? Oh yeah, I was like maybe he'll go Frostmoth on Venusaur, but he goes Vikavolt, which also could have been 2 KO'd by offensive Venusaur Sludge Bomb, but whatever. I guess he was also just predicting Giga Drain. Flamethrower just knocks it down to Sash. Wonderful. Can't web on anything except Mudstale because Cole will spin. That's cool. And I can just keep flamethrowing because his resists take a lot from Specs flamethrower. Like 33 on the Poros? Sure. Absolutely. Count me in. Um, it's leftovers 2, which means I don't have to be as afraid of it. I'm going to pivot in my Poros because I think Venusaur is too predictable. He does go Salazzle predicting Venusaur, and then I double out again because I'm like, what if he's Terra Grass, Terra Blast? Like, that was the one like super safe play I made. I'm gonna toss up a spike because I don't want that to be Sash, and I do want some Golurk chip potentially. Plus, I've got Mudstale. Come on, Golurk, it's fine. Body press is very free. He's definitely trying to get Vikavolt in before rocks, um, so that's fine. Versus Frostmoth, this is genuinely a threat now that Colossal is like chipped and poisoned, and even if Colossal was healthy, it could tear through Colossal, like set up more and then sweep me. I have to be very careful with Frostmoth. I decide the best thing I can possibly do is go hard floor, just immediately trick, and just totally limit its setup opportunities later. Because realistically, like it sets up on Venusaur, but Mudstale does a lot. It can definitely put in range of Band Aqua Jet, assuming I have like a sack to Giga Drain. It can only set up on Cole if it terras, I think. Again, Band Aqua Jet, gotta be wary of that. So I'm reasonably sure I can keep it forced out if I just go hard Florges. Um, and then he just like straight quivers on me, and I don't know what's up with that. I really don't. Like defensive Calm Mind, I also think 1v1's Frostmoth, that doesn't even work. And then I just get the Psychic on the incoming Salazzle, because what else is he gonna do? Like, the plays are just not working here. I don't even need Florges anymore. Like, I have Switch-ins, I've got a Venusaur, but no reason to risk it, because I don't know what he could do, and Florges is kind of useless here. I'm gonna get off a hefty Sludge Bomb chunk on Frostmoth, because Scarf Frostmoth genuinely still annoying. Um, why not? Toss in the coal. He's got a clear coal switch in, but I just want to chip it, make sure I can definitely kill the Golurk because I don't really know what to expect. And then this is the one sequence that genuinely goes pretty well for Beraldo. let Cole die, go into Zoroark for a simple revenge kill. He Terras to kill me. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Part of the reason I went Zoroark and not Venus or whatever, less useful if he pulls out something weird. And then I go Poros to kill it because he's got no good switch-ins, and it's also Custap, which could have been real bad if I hit myself twice. But I don't, thank God. That could have been the real difference maker, but from here, it's mostly just mob up because he's already used up Terra, which means Minior cannot Terra out of beating my Tauros. In this point, I synthesis because I have a 50% chance of living Ice Beam or so, and then he'll die to poison. But he goes for the Giga Drain read on the Poros anyway. I'm not risking Poros. He kills my Venusaur, I still win. He kills my Poros, I lose. Because now Minior can smash and potentially 1v1 Mudsdale. I don't know what kind of set he is, but I got to be way more careful. With Banned Aqua Jet in the back, nah, that's fine. But yeah, it doesn't work. He Giga Drains into Venusaur, and it's basically over. It's safer to go Mudsdale at this point, I think, and just roar him out and kind of guarantee. Like, I know I'll get the defense boost, and I can chip the Poros, and then I can guarantee I can win with Aqua Jet. I don't want to Aqua Jet into Minior, and then he bulks up, and then he somehow beats my Terra Dragon to Mudsdale. Is that likely? No, I don't know what possibly could have won, but just in case, just being safe works out. Um, just too many misplays from Beraldo early. Like I got a lot of stuff right. The lead, flamethrower into this, the trick was really bad. The psychic on Salazzle just put him back, and maybe could have done it. I think my matchup was pretty solid here, but yeah. And this team, hella fun. I'm gonna drop this and one other thing I made but didn't use. A couple other people on the team ended up using. I'm gonna submit it to samples now that PUPL is over because I just think they kind of work and we need some new teams. And I'm sure some people will have like the standard critiques because I definitely like I'm the kind of person who's comfortable leaving some weaknesses on a team and being like, you can't cover everything, but I got the stuff for it. But I think the solid offensive cores and building a consistent team around that is really what gets you through. And at least in this sort, it worked out, so that's cool. I hope this was interesting for people. I definitely think I picked up some stuff for myself going over my games, just how I need to self-analyze, especially. That's useful. And I will upload maybe sometime or maybe never. So there's that.